Hello everyone, welcome back to another masterclass. I'm Upsetmax. Today we're going to be talking about 3 augments that you should be insta-picking or insta-locking if you see them on 2-1. This is another TFT masterclass by FitGamerTFT, and make sure to join the Discord for attendance of these live lessons. If you are interested in still trying to get that Cloud9 jersey, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and increase your chances of winning this raffle. So we're going to get started. A couple topics for today. We're basically going to be talking about 3 augments that correlate to 3 comps. So the 3 are going to be Build Different Flex, Mulched, Dryad Reroll, and then Divine Rolls Heavenly. So we've already talked about Dryad Reroll before, like playing Gnar, and we have talked about Heavenly Cane in our previous, but these 2 augments, Mulch and Divine Rolls, are going to be extremely good for these compositions and will tailor your game direction straight into these specific comps. So super strong augments, I'll talk about their stats on the next page. And then for Build Different Flex, many different ways that you could play this composition, but I'll be talking about the core units that you need to be playing around, their itemization, and then how to cap out your comp. After today's class, we'll do a quick recap, and then we will hop into a Q&A for any of those who are in the voice channel. So here are our 2-1 augment stats. The 3, as I mentioned, are going to be Built Different 2, Mulched, and then Divine Rolls. So if we disregard any of the Lily encounters where we get any 3-2 or 4-2 augments earlier, so that's why like sometimes we see Ethereal Blaze a 2-1 here, or like Slime and Plus on 2-1. So these are like Lily encountered. So if we get rid of all the ones that won't be showing up regularly, that leads us with 3. So Built Different, Mulched, and Divine Rolls. So you can see these are the 3 best performing 2-1 augments, I think in even Diamond Plus or Masters Plus on the NA server at least, and they're extremely good. Remember, any placement close to 4 or even below 4, or I guess like closer to 1 is really good, and then as you get closer to the placement of 5, theoretically the augment is worse. So Built Different is standing at a 3.92, Mulched at a 3.97, and then Divine Rolls averaging a 4.16. I remember we're always aiming for top 4, so that is how these statistics are interpreted. So very good augments, and these are the stats that back it up. So we're going to hop into the first augments and the comp intro. So Built Different, there is only one type of Built Different this set. It is Built Different 2. So basically what this augment is, basically any units that are going to be traitless on your board, they will gain attack speed and HP that scale with each stage. So the longer the game goes, and as you go throughout the game, you will be gaining more HP and more attack speed, going from 200 to 480 health, and then 40 to 55% attack speed. So really good buffs, are really good, I guess like stat buffs for your comp and for your units. You want to be playing around 4 cost attack damage units, and you're ideally going to be wanting to be level 8 on stage 4 and playing around a ton of these 4 costs. It is best to play units that benefit just from the raw HP and the raw attack speed rather than having their trait activated, because if we're playing this augment and this comp, we cannot play any units that synergize with each other. So we are just going to be wanting to play units that either do a lot of damage through auto attacking, either benefit from scaling from the extra HP, and mix of both. And these are some units that are really good, and then some units that are not as ideal or are pretty good, but we can't play both. So Annie is going to be a lot better than Lilia. Lilia is wanting to do a lot of cast, wanting to get a lot of AP from that mythic, and then cast very often with Invoker, but we can't play her. So this is an example of where we cannot activate her trait, so then the unit is not good. Also, Annie being the sharing Invoker, that's why we could only play one. Annie benefits a lot from the raw HP because her kit scales with HP, and also Annie is just an insane unit currently with the buffs. Lissandra is better than Syndra, not only because like 5 costs over 4 costs, but also Lissandra is just one of the best units in the game right now, so we're going to be playing that for the Arcanist, or at least one of the 2 Arcanists. Kayn is better than Morgana, benefits more from the HP and the spinnings from extra attack speed, and then Morgana does not do a lot, well also in general, but she doesn't really benefit from the HP or attack speed. And then other things, I really over Lee Sin also for Sunder. And then last but not least, this is going to be a more interesting one. In a vacuum, Ashe is better than Kaisa because Ashe, she does a lot more damage from her physical or auto attacks, which is why she benefits from the attack speed a lot more. However, we want to be playing Lysandra, and we can't play Lysandra and Ashe, so it's okay to play Ashe on your board over Kaisa, who benefits more from her cast, so attack speed is not as important on Kaisa. But once we have Lysandra, then we definitely want to be playing Kaisa instead to hold our backline AD carry or AD caster items, such as like Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, and then that way we could play the Lysandra. So that is how we are going to be navigating about the units, and that's a quick intro into what Build Different is. This is a board that you could play in the early stages of the game. So between levels 3 to 6, we want to be playing the strongest unit from each of their individual traits or class. So what does this mean? Well, Darius is by far the best melee bruiser holder for the front line. Outputs a lot of damage, and then he benefits a lot from the attack speed, and HP is always good. And then for any frontline units, we just play around either Shen, play either around Alawi, or either around Rek'Sai, or a little bit mix of both, except for you can't do Shen and Alawi. So just play whatever strongest frontline. You can even play a Garen and then not play the Alawi. So just like regular TFT, play the strongest board that you have while making as much money as possible. As just now, we cannot be playing units that synergize with each other. So we could play the strongest behemoths, the strongest duelist, the strongest bruiser that we have at the time. And then for your backline, we could play Zyra and Sivir are very good. Sivir is a great holder for our Ashe and Kaisa items. And then Darius is a great holder for our upcoming Kayn items. Remember with Built Different that we're going to be on stage 4 level 8 playing around a lot of these 4 costs. So that's why number 1, making as much so then we're able to get to level 8 very comfortably and be able to roll down. And then also we want to be prepping our item holders for our later item holders. As I mentioned, Darius is going to be holding for Kayn, and then Sivir is going to be holding for Ashe or Kaisa. Senna can also hold for Ashe and Kaisa. It just depends on what you have at the time. Just make sure you don't accidentally overlap any traits and accidentally activate any of these. Then Built Different will not be available for those specific units. So that is playing about the early game, and then when we get to stage 4, as we see from our board, we are just playing a medley of 4 cost units and even 5 cost units. So because we are playing a basically 4 cost unit board, this is going to be a very expensive board, right? This is 12 gold, and you get the gist. So we need a lot of gold, which means that if we have a decent board on 4-2 and we are not particularly rich, it is more than okay to sack 2 and not roll down or level on 4-2 or 4-3. Wait until 4-5 after carousel and then level to 8 and then roll down for our board. Built Different actually encourages you to play duplicates of the strong units. So if you have 2 Annie 2s is the best case scenario, or you could just play like 2 Annie 1s if you don't have an Annie 2-star yet, or like a 2-star and a 1-star. It's definitely okay to play duplicates of these strong units, so either like Annie's, Nautilus's, Orin's, even like Kayn's. And then as I mentioned on the previous slides, if you don't have Lysandra, then definitely play Ashe over Kaisa, but once you do have that Lysandra, definitely play your Kaisa instead so you don't accidentally activate Porcelain. Last but not least, if you don't have any Sunder, or if you just hit the units, I really does not have a unique legendary trait such as, or like Udyr has, or even Hui has. So she benefits from the Built Different, and she is able to apply Sunder from her attacks and is a great holder of Morello or red buff. So this is what the board looks like, and then as we see, we have our Kayn holding our previous Darius items, our Kaisa or Ashe holding our previous Senna or Sivir items, and then any of the frontline items. We want to put mana items on Nautilus, so preferably Vow or Adaptive Helm. Helm is also really good on Lysandra, or just generic mana items, and then our resistance items or even redemptions we want to be putting on Annie. So like Gargoyles, Redemption, Declaw, or Bramble Vest, depending on the lobby, if it's physical or magic damage mainly, then those are going to be the best in slot for Annie. So this is what the board looks like, super strong, and then once you hit a decent amount on stage 8 and are stabilized, you are able to go level 9 and cap out around 2 Lysandras or like 2 Kayns, 2 Aurelias. Playing duplicates is more than fine. So extremely strong composition right now. Definitely look out for the 2-1 augment of Built Different. And then augments to go along with this. Inspiring Epitaph is really good because you have extra HP, well, from two things. One, the recent buffs to all 4 costs, which is also why this comp is good now. And then 2, we get extra HP from Built Different, means that our Epitaph shield based off of our maximum HP is going to be even larger because we have 2 new sources of extra HP. Martyr, same thing, based off of our maximum HP. Unify Resistance, adding resistance to our large amounts of HP is very good for our increased effective HP. Trash to Treasure, many different holders that we can use for this. It's best on 2-1. Raining Gold, Slamming, Patient Study are great tempo econ augments to allow us to get to level 8 very comfortably with a lot of gold. And then other combo augments such as Best Friends 1 and 2, and then Sleight of Hand and Lucky Gloves because we have so many carries and all of these units do something on our board, which is why Lucky Gloves and Sleight of Hand are very good. So keep an eye out for this composition, super strong, and definitely one of the best, if not the best, at least stats-wise, on the current patch 14.8. So let's move on to our second augment and our second composition. So this is going to be a Mulched Dryad. We have talked about Dryad before. I think we generally know how to play. However, now we are going to be talking about this augment in particular. So if you have the opportunity to pick Mulched on 2-1, this is the #1 indicator to reroll Gnar plus Kindred. You are going to be much ahead of tempo with Mulched based off of your Dryad stacks than without, because you're gaining 2 Dryad stacks every round. Also, your Dryads deal 10% additional damage, which is pretty important. That's basically like an extra gold augment of you know my enemy. So this is really good. It's kind of like a 2-in-1, and then even better, it gives you a Rek'Sai and a Gnar to get started. Remember, Dryad is a snowball composition, so by killing units early give you more HP, which allow you to technically kill other units just because you're a stronger unit. So you want to be playing this from a kind of a strong start. At least you have some item to slam so you could kill some enemy units, and then make sure you're trying to make as much econ as possible, hitting those intervals while killing units as well. Great items to slam. Bloodthirster is the best item on Gnar because you gain so much HP from Dryad. Your maximum HP shield once you drop down to 40% is going to be huge. Titans, Steric, and Hodge are also very good Gnar items as well. So very important indicator to perhaps play into the Dryad line with this augment. This is what your level 6 board is going to look like. Even though we have our new level 7% odds for our 2 and 3 cost units, it's still best to reroll on level 6 for Gnar 3 and Kindred 3. You still have a 40% chance per shop slot to see a 2 cost unit. So definitely stay on level 6 and play a board like this, where we have actually faded in and we are linking our Kindred and Ari. So at least we activate some of our Kindred traits and give her extra attack speed, extra AP, and is going to be our duo carry in this composition. Gnar items, BT Titans, Steric, BT Titans, Hodge are good. Even BT Titan Titans is fine. And then Kindred wants to be holding blue buff, some sort of healing reduction, so either Morello or red buff, and then 1 damage item such as Rabadon's. Even a Gnasher's Tooth is fine as well. So we're going to be going on level 6, either 3-2 or 3-5, depending how rich we are. We want to stabilize ASAP. Remember, with Dryad, we want to be killing units. We don't want to be playing this from a behind spot or playing this from behind. So try to hit your Gnar 2 and Kindred 2 ASAP, and then econ back up to 50 gold in the rare occasions where we hit our Ornn or a Kayn on level 6, which is actually not that rare. We have a 5% chance of seeing a 4 cost unit per shop slot. So if we do hit the Ornn, then we want to be dropping the Fadeds, and then we play our Ornn. Actually, Ornn will probably go here, and then Rek'Sai will go here on the outside for 4 Dryad. And if we hit Arcane, then we can play Aatrox and Arcane for 4 Ghostly. So that is how it's going to work if you high roll one of these two. If not, then that's fine. You could just play this Faded board instead. In regards for Gnar positioning, he does a lot of damage, and the more damage he does, remember, the more he will heal. So you want to make sure that you position the weak side of the enemy board and you do not get stuck on the enemy main tank, because if we hit the enemy main tank, we're not doing a lot of damage, and if we're healing based off how much damage we're doing and we're not doing a lot of damage, then that means we are healing very little. So that is what your board is going to look like on level 6. And then this is your final board. If we have leftover items, I know we're already past 12 components, so this would be like region specific, etc. Put whatever leftover on Kayn for bruiser items. Make sure that you have some sort of Sunder in your composition, so either an Even Shroud on the Shen or a Last Whisper on the Kayn. And then, as I mentioned, you want to be positioning Gnar away from the main enemy carry. However, you still want to give him the capability to wrap into the enemy backline, so he will most likely be either in the front row top left or the front row top right, with Kindred on the same side as the Gnar, so they are both hitting the same enemy units. And then remember to have your even shroud on the same side. So we kind of have our core package, as Azir doesn't count. So this is like our core package here. And then we want to be swapping these units where Aatrox and Alawi, they're just there tanking this side of the board and applying Ghostly to the nearby units. So this is what the Mulched Gnar Dryad board looks like, and then some augments to go along with this. Well, obviously Mulched is what we're talking about. Gargantuan Resolves is still very good, although Gnar did take a hit both of the recent nerf and on the recent Titans nerf. It's still playable, especially from Mulched, so this is still a good augment. Heavy Hitters is one of the best in the Dryad composition after Mulched, because we're getting so much free HP, which converts into AP and AD, and then AP and Gnar converts into extra AD, so it's like AD and AD. It's infinitely scaling, so very good logo for that. And then Ascension, Unified, Dryad, Crescent Crown. Baboom is very good for Kindred because she casts once every 2 autos with blue buff, so being able to get that insane amount of increased percentage damage is really good for her. And then Combat Caster and Featherweights. Combat Caster just a very good combat augment, and then Featherweights, and I want to put 2 healthy on here as well. I don't think it saves, but 2 healthy is very good on this board as well with all of our 2 costs. So that is the Dryad board. Definitely play it if you have Mulched on 2-1, and then the fact it gives you a Gnar right away is very good. Slam your item and you're in a good spot. And then the very last one we'll want to talk about is Divine Rolls Heavenly. So what does Divine Rolls do? Basically, if you are getting this on 2-1, which is the best timing, you will get 4 free rerolls, and then if you somehow already have a Heavenly champion on your board, you'll get 1 extra reroll for each one of your Heavenly champions. And this is not unique. I'll talk about this more. This applies later into like stage 3 and stage 4, but basically if we play 2 of the same Heavenly champions, so if we play like 2 Kha'Zixes, then they each count for 1 reroll, so then you'll be getting 2 rerolls for that, even though they are the same unit or the same champion. And then remember, rerolls only last that 1 round, so every start of the stage, either 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, you have to use all your rolls that round. Also, the augment gives you a Kha'Zix and a Malphite, and it already gets you on your way. So very good augment. What this allows you to do basically is be ahead of tempo every stage at the start of every stage of the game. Even the base value, right, 4 free rolls, that is already 8 gold. So it averages between like 8 to 24 if we end up hitting 8 Heavenly units if we're level 8 at the start of every stage, which is insane. So very good augment. That's no wonder why the stats are so good. And we will be looking to play Heavenly Kayn / Lee Sin / Silas based off of our items and what we hit. Mainly physical damage composition, unless we're playing around the Silas, where we have a lot of rods that we want to be playing and killing. And then either Reaper or Bruiser items for Arcane and Lee Sin. And a very good comp allows you to cap really high with legendaries as well, where you have the capability to play around your Udyr, Irelia, and your Lysandra. So that is an intro into what Divine Rolls is. Here is what our early game board is going to look like. Perfect synergies, we love to see it. We want to be playing around Darius as our early game holder. He is similar to what I showed in the Build Different early game board, an amazing holder of melee bruiser items. So Bloodthirster, Titan, Sterix, QS, Edge of Night, all of these are very good, even Last Whisper. So you want to be playing a board like this along with Heavenly, and then as we get from level 4 up to like level 6, level 7, we can either add 2 extra duelists, either like a Volibear or like a Yasuo 2, or we could add extra Heavenlies. Basically just play your strongest board while making as much money up until stage 4. But with Divine Rolls, we're most likely going to be rather rich the whole part of the game, just because we don't have to spend any extra money on rolling, and we're able to hit like a really strong board basically for free. And then on stage 2, 7, so right as Krugs comes in, of course, we still play enough strong units or units with items to beat the PvE round. We don't want to be losing to Krugs or Wolves, but play as many Heavenly units as possible on 2-7 and 3-7 Wolves while still beating it. Which means that on the next stage, right, on 3-1 is when the Divine Rolls will start, and then we get that extra +1 reroll for each of your Heavenly champions, even if you play 2 of the same one. And then on 4-1 is also when it's going to hit. So this is how to get extra value out of this augment. Just play as many Heavenly units as possible, even if it's duplicates, but make sure to still win the round. That is what your early to mid game Heavenly board will look like, and then this is what our level 8 board will look like. We want to be playing as many Heavenlies as possible while still fitting in key units, so most of the time we do not play Soraka unless we hit an early Recon. Kayn is going to be our main carry, with Lee Sin holding our bruiser items, or at least our aura items. So Kayn, the way you want to itemize them is there's going to be 3 components, one defensive component, so either Edge Knight or QS, just because of the Lissandra meta, and also even Sterix is fine. We want to have one source of healing, either Hand of Justice or Bloodthirster. Even a Gunblade is fine if you have too many rods and can't play Silas. And then last but not least, we want to have a damage item, so either Last Whisper, Giant Slayer, Titans. So defense, healing, plus damage is going to be how we want to be itemizing Arcane. Lee Sin gets the leftover bruiser items, so like Sterix, Bloodthirster, or even Shroud, Giant Slayer, Eon, Titans. These are all fine on him. And if we are playing a Silas too, he appreciates items such as Crown Guard, Spark, BT, and Blue Buff. Morgana is going to be our Morello / red buff applier, so just put any mana item on her, either Shojin, Adaptive Helm, or blue buff, one Morello, and you are all good to go. Regarding positioning, kind of similar to Gnar, you don't want the units to be getting stuck on the enemy main tank. Early stage 4, it's pretty fine, just because this board will kind of just run over anything, especially if you have the right setup, so like healing reduction and like Sunder and like pretty itemized carries. However, as you get later into the game, you might want to start positioning over to the sides and trying to either wrap or just avoid the enemy main carry, so then you can deal damage and heal off of the damage you do. You can cap this board by playing Lissandra on level 9, and then there's also some 4 Dragonlord versions that you could do depending if you hit Recon or not, and if you have any +1s from Heavenly. So +1s from Heavenly, that is going to be the best augments to go with this composition, along with any support items. So Heavenly Crest and Crown, very good. It gives you that extra Omnivamp from having the Heavenly emblem, and then gives you another spike. One thing to note, the Heavenly spike from 5 to 6 is the largest, which is I think actually 35% bonus for these stats, but the jump from 6 to 7 is only 25%. It used to be 40, but it just got nerfed in the recent. So it's actually really important to go from the spike of 5 to 6 Heavenly, but to 6 to 7, 6 to 7 is not as important anymore. Support cache, stationary support, very good. Trying to get Banshees ASAP so then we don't get potted by Lissandra is, well, that's the biggest counter to this composition. So being able to counter that counter, very good. Look for Banshees in these 2 augments. And then Divine Rolls, little buddies. We have so many little buddies helping out our big buddies. So very good. And then remember, Kayn spins scale with his attack speed, so getting that extra attack speed from little buddies is very good as well. And then any generic combat augments to help us just win rounds, like Unified, Tiny but Deadly, Inspiring Epitaph, Gifts from the Fallen, and Combat Caster are all great options as well. So very good composition. Definitely look out for Divine Rolls on 2-1. It's even fine on 3-2 as well. And what you can do from that, if you see Divine Rolls on 3-2, then before you select the actual augment, just exit out of the augment screen, put in as many Heavenly units as possible, and then click the augment to maximize the amount of rolls that you can use. And it's basically free gold, free money. We love to see it. So that has been everything for today. Today we talked about 3 augments that lead you into very narrow yet very strong compositions. Those 3 augments are built different. Actually, I'll just show it on this one. Are built different, Mulched, and Divine Rolls. Built different, we want to be playing around the Annie, Kaisa, Ash board with some legendaries. Mulched, we want to be re-rolling Gnar, and the Divine Rolls, we want to be going into the Kayn board. So that has been everything for today. If you're watching this on YouTube, then thank you so much for watching. Make sure to join the Discord and enter the raffle for the Cloud9 jersey. And for those who are in the voice channel, we could take some time to do a Q&A now, answer any questions that you all have, and that's it. So thanks for watching. Have a great night.